Welcome to the Manila Times Roundtable. I'm Dante, Klink, the chairman and CEO. We're fortunate to have in our newsroom today Consul General Ivy Banzon-Abalos of the Philippine Consulate General in Frankfurt. Welcome, Congen. It's very nice to see you as always. Welcome to the Times.
Thanks very much for this opportunity to have a chat with you.
I feel guilty, as I was saying to you earlier, because you only have a limited time here in the Philippines to do your official DFA work and, of course, meet with relatives. And we're eating up some of that precious time. But we're quite eager to hear from you. What's keeping you busy in Frankfurt? There are a lot of things, but maybe we should start there. What's on your plate?
Well, it's a small office, but the work program is quite packed.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the Philippine Embassy in Berlin is there, which takes care of the whole program for Germany.
Right.
And as a consulate, our focus is mainly on taking care of the interests of the Filipinos there, and looking at opportunities for commerce.
Sure.
Economic opportunities for the Philippines. So a lot of business-related, Filipino community-related issues fill up our plate,
Sure.
every day.
Oh, Frankfurt is the financial capital of Germany. Probably, some would say, probably the EU. The President Marcos is planning a trip to Germany. Is Frankfurt on this itinerary? Are you planning something
Yes.
for the president and his delegation?
Yeah, we're very thrilled that the president is coming next month to Frankfurt, to Berlin,
Right.
to Germany, and so we're Frankfurt as the lone Philippine consulate in Germany is going to be busy with organizing the Filipinos, because actually our consulate oversees the area the area of Germany which has about 75% of the Filipino population in Germany, Filipino citizens in Germany. So that's going to be our main task.
Right.
During the presidential visit. Of course, the president is going to be meeting the business community in Germany.
Sure.
He's going to be meeting, of course, the German chancellor, for the important political
Business, the affairs of the state.
Yes, yes, and we're actually very excited also to be that this meeting is happening, because as we see it, the Philippines is very much in the radar of Germany.
Sure.
So it's a very good opportunity to get the Germans to engage with us.
Sure.
On the issues that are important to us. So political, economic, even cultural.
Sure.
You asked about the things that are
Keeping you busy.
are keeping us busy. One of the things that we're looking forward to actually next year is the Philippine showcase at the Frankfurt Book Fair.
Yes.
Which is
how we met.
Yes.
I should tell people that I'm also
That's true.
with the National Book Development Board.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's something that that will keep us very busy.
Sure. And we're very appreciative of the consulates and the embassy's assistance there also. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, since I took my post in Frankfurt, it was interesting because it was just at the tail end of the pandemic, and I would say it was not so easy to figure out how the German society has changed, and that was important to us, because that would define how we're going to approach our work as a consulate.
Right.
But at that time, that time also coincided with the campaign period.
Because you work with the community.
Because I worked with the community and the campaign, the elections. I mean, that was just before the elections, and when I took up my post, and of course when I started to present myself to the community, talk to them, I guess the atmosphere, the political atmosphere among Filipinos here in the Philippines were also mirrored
Right.
within the Filipino diaspora. So if I may be frank.
So very competitive among different political camps.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
So if I may be frank,
Sure.
the atmosphere that time was really marked by some kind of color
Yeah.
politics, and the same color politics was was felt. We could feel it in the community.
Sure.
So, we had the red community, the pink,
Yeah.
yellow, all sorts, and it was also proving a challenge to keep the community together, to talk about Philippine government programs.
Sure.
And because they're you I guess you can't really take out a kind of a sentiment of a feeling of suspicion among
Sure. And Filipinos are very passionate about their politics, right?
So exactly like how it was
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
here in the Philippines. So at that time, I was also inspired by something that happened in North America already when it came to the promotion, the popularity of ube,
Mhm.
which is quite ubiquitous already within the Filipino community
Sure.
in the U.S., in Canada. I guess due to the sheer population of Filipinos there. And I thought that why can't something, why can't the population, the popularity of ube be replicated in Europe? And I don't know how it happened, but somehow the stars aligned. And when I started to talk about ube, because we were, we were discussing, what we could do for the Philippines Independence Day.
Sure.
The ube, was, surprisingly brought the different Filipino communities together.
So you united them under the color
so
of ube,
I said,
huh?
oh my gosh, I was so surprised at the unifying power of ube. The lowly ube.
Yeah.
So it started out with just a simple ube fiesta, which
Sure.
normally a template like that for a fiesta is done by by Philippine embassies during the National Day celebration, Independence Day celebrations. But this particular concept of the ube was just so interesting in the way that it brought together the community. At the same time, I felt the excitement of people. Like everyone was saying, "Oh, I love ube," and these are people from Luzon, from communities in Mindanao, the ones who, the newly arrived nurses. So, I thought that was something that maybe, we could give more attention to as a kind of national icon, a national branding strategy. But I thought that was a bit lofty at the time. So I said, okay, we'll start with introducing ube to where we are, to Germany. And it so happened that at the time during the pandemic, I guess because the German society was also quite health conscious.
Okay.
The consumption of organic food rose by 22% in Germany.
Oh, wow.
So
And that's an opportunity that you see for the Philippines.
While many businesses were going down,
Right.
organic food was going up.
Okay.
So I said, how can the Philippines get a slice of this? And so, as I said, the stars kind of aligned. We thought, okay, why not, see the possibility of ube being exported as a Philippine product, a uniquely, a distinctly Filipino
That's
product.
so fascinating, and I would think that would be a welcome development for our farmers in the Philippines, or probably looking at opportunities for a very what we may consider maybe a humble root crop, but as you said, has a lot of potential in places like Germany, and as you mentioned earlier, elsewhere. Where are we? How far along are you in promoting it? What has been the German response to ube? Do you think there is I think we were talking earlier. You wanted to make it mainstream, not to introduce it to the German market for the community, but for everyone, right? How far along are we in doing that?
Yeah, I mean, like any marketing effort, or marketing like a product development
Right.
effort.
It takes time.
It takes time. It's a
Yeah.
process. But we thought that the first order of business was to get the relevant agencies in the Philippines
To make them aware of the
together.
opportunity. Right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I mean, we were a small consulate. We just saw the potential
Sure.
in many respects,
Right.
cultural, the economic, the political. And so the first thing I did was to reach out to the national government agencies, particularly the Department of Agriculture, the DTI, even the NCCA, and ask them about ube. So I had no idea about ube. I mean, I was just eating it, enjoying it. But then I found out from the information from DA that this was how much we were producing. These were the top provinces producing ube. And basically that ube is still, after all these years, so, after the, all this popularity of ube among Filipinos, ube is unfortunately still a backyard, a backyard industry. I
Right.
mean, it's not even an industry; it's
Yeah.
it's backyard planting.
Yeah.
And I was told by the DA that the total surface area, land area that plants ube in the Philippines is just about the size of Makati, land area of Makati, which is not enough even for
local demand.
domestic
Yeah.
to address the domestic demand. So
Right.
it was just really, it's really subsistence.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking already, if we're already thinking of exporting ube, then we would need to naturally think about how, bumping up that
Yeah.
production.
Yeah.
So now we're where I'm in talks with DA, actually getting direction from the Department of Agriculture on how we can help at least the Department of Foreign Affairs through consulates like ours, what we can do to help
Sure.
promote
Right.
the production.
But you've actually been doing some informal introductions as well to the Germans, right? And
Yeah.
I remember in Frankfurt, I don't know if it was your idea, but they were serving this ube liqueur. Maybe you can tell us what has been the reaction of the Germans who've been able to taste some of these products that are made.
Yeah,
from,
I'll
from
tell you
ube.
what. When we first introduced ube,
Right.
we thought that, I mean, we looked at the market of the market in Germany,
Right.
and we saw that there were some ube halaya in bottles,
Right.
and ube powder, ube extract that
Right.
were available not in large quantities in Asian stores, and we thought that maybe because I guess the typical German would not know what ube is and would not know exactly what these ube products are. We thought it would be important to show them the real ube. I mean, the actual root crop.
Right.
And so, through the help of the the province of Bohol, which is by the way, the largest province, the largest producer of ube, we were able to bring in the ube root crop, the real ube, the fresh ube, to Frankfurt, and we made a kind of parade, so we wanted to take pictures of it, and we were really astonished at how much interest and curiosity people had about it, because we had to slice open the ube and show them that the purple is actually it's natural color.
Right.
So they were asking, what is that? What's
What
that
makes
purple?
it purple?
Yeah, and they're familiar with the purple potato.
Right.
But the ube is a very, particular looking root crop, a bit woody outside.
Okay.
And
It's like a kamote, no? I mean,
like
or
like-
cassava.
like a taro,
Yeah,
like
I
a
see,
taro.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they mistake it for the sweet potato.
Yeah, they mistake. Actually, it was also funny because ube had been going out. I mean, it has been featured in various media articles already in Germany. You know, in the form of food trends like for ice cream flavors.
Sure.
And we actually have. We have seen videos. I mean, Germans promoting ube, at least presenting ube as an exotic flavor.
Right.
But they would usually show the purple potato, and Filipinos started to react on social media, like saying that's not ube.
Right.
Ube is like this; it's woody outside. So we thought, okay, we needed to show the real,
to bring the actual
ube. Yeah. And that was the first. That was the first exposure of the Germans, I guess, to ube. At least during this campaign period that we're doing. And so, so I go back to the coordination that we're doing with the agencies. So basically, the agencies in the Philippines are quite encouraged by the kind of market.
The response?
Market response. And they actually told us that they are appreciative of the market signals, which would then encourage the local producers to start
planting.
To start planting ube.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we've been giving the Department of Agriculture.
Right.
So anything about ube that comes out in the media, actually we also sometimes give samples of ube halaya, ube powder to the local gelateria.
Right.
And if they're able to, we actually had one ice cream gelateria near the consulate sell ube ice cream during last summer, and it was really a hit. They said children's parties, children's parties, it was really, it was a hit.
It appealed to their taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
So little things like this we make reports on, and it was very encouraging. I mean, as far as the agencies are concerned. So that got them to think that
there's potential.
There might be something to ube promotion.
I know last week when we were talking, you were saying that it's like a rabbit hole that you've gone into when trying to learn more about ube. But can you tell us more about because you're doing a lot of research. You've talked to people who've done actual research also on ube, and you mentioned Bohol earlier. Not many people would associate Bohol with ube, but then you were also saying that among the countries in the region, there's no country claiming ube as maybe a star crop or maybe a potential export product. So maybe that's another reason why maybe the Philippines can consider that as maybe an entry point to
that's true. That's true. Yeah, what you're talking about is that cultural dimension that we're trying to to also work on as an important aspect of the work, because I think the potential of ube as an export product also is linked to how associated it will be with the exporting country.
Right.
And
is that right? That no one is claiming ube as their their
I don't
flagship,
claim to be an
but
expert.
I don't know.
But
of
from
any,
at least from our readings, our research, ube, of course, is not exclusively grown in the Philippines. It's grown in different countries in the region.
Yeah.
I think even Africa might have certain varieties of it.
Right.
But in terms of the cultural connection to ube, that is something that
unique
we have
us,
not
or not
seen. We have not seen it anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, where else would you see ube eaten and celebrated in important festive
You were saying in Bohol there's a festival.
When we were making our research on ube, because first I always thought why is ube, why do Filipinos eat ube during birthdays, fiestas, Christmas? Why?
Yeah.
I couldn't make I didn't know what the connection
Well,
was,
the
but I knew
association,
it
yeah.
was,
Yeah.
that was a
We
fact.
just take it for granted.
We
that
take it
it's-
for granted,
Yeah.
yeah. And so in our research, we found out that that in the province of Bohol, ube is actually a revered product.
Okay.
They even have this, I don't know, it's called is it a motto or is it a kiss the ube?
Yeah.
Where I think each Boholano would know, would know this this practice where if ube falls on the ground, they're supposed to kiss it, as a sign of respect to ube. I was told that one of the explanations is that ube is supposed to have saved Bohol from a famine. And so that explained the reverence that they have for ube. And then, true enough, the research that we did a lot of them were written by Boholanos.
Oh.
And we also found out that the Bohol hymn, I think different provinces have their hymns. The Bohol hymn actually has the word kinampay, ube.
Which is their,
the variety. It's the queen variety of the ube.
Kinampay. Okay.
Kinampay.
Okay.
So I'm
Fascinating.
not Boholano, but I think the Boholanos would be more in a position to expound on ube. But I also heard that they have very interesting planting practices. For instance, that ube is supposed to be planted. This kind of ritual where ube
Right.
is planted during a full moon or right after a full moon. There are different variations. Some say it's during a full moon. Some say it's after a full moon. After the full moon, when the skies are a little bit ube in color.
Okay.
But it has to be planted by women, bare-bosomed women.
Okay.
And that's supposed to kind of mirror the quality
of the
ube.
Okay.
I also heard from another variations that in another island, near Bohol, one of the smaller islands, it's the men who plant, but they
Okay.
also have to be, naked
Okay.
from the bottom,
Okay.
from the waist down.
Right.
So that
As the women counterpart.
yeah,
of
the women. Yeah, I guess the ube that you grow is supposed to follow.
I'm just wondering why
the
I've never
body
heard of
parts
these.
that are exposed.
I've never heard of these festivals. I've been going to the wrong ones.
So it was just so fascinating, and
that
I
is
thought,
fascinating.
how come these stories are not written?
Yeah, not popularized, right?
Yeah. So I'm hoping there can be some publication about it, as someone can write about all these stories, just to explore the cultural connection Filipinos have about ube. And we hope that having this will contribute to that, that interest about ube as a distinctly Pinoy superfood.
That's so interesting. These festivals and these other anecdotes that you've been collecting, you're putting them together in a book, or are you looking for an author to write it? Is it the consulate that's trying to put it together? I know you've mentioned it to the National Book Development Board, and we're hoping to look for a publisher for you. But what's the concept there? You want to come out with a book, right?
Yes, we want to come out with a book.
Okay.
And we think, just very much in the spirit of utilizing the synergies, we think that the coming Philippine showcase at the Frankfurt Book Fair could be the perfect opportunity. It could be the perfect opportunity to promote a book, since we're promoting Philippine books. But if we promote a Philippine book on ube, hopefully translated in German, that would complement very much our commercial efforts.
It's interesting. Last year we were promoting adobo. In a book published by the Foreign Service Institute.
Yes.
So it's interesting that the Department of Foreign Affairs is really taking the lead in promoting Philippine cuisine, Philippine products, and that's quite an interesting project. Did you say that? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That ube itself, the raw crop, is not subject to EU tariffs, or is that something? Or how difficult is it to, for an enterprising Filipino or maybe some Germans, German importers, how difficult is it to bring the raw product to the EU market, or does it have to be processed, or what are the rules
Yeah,
as far as you
actually,
found out?
we did check with the agriculture attaché, or the Philippine agriculture attaché covering the EU, and we were informed that there are actually no obstacles for our fresh ube to
Okay.
fresh or processed ube can be exported
So there's
to
no
the
barrier. So then,
there are actually no barriers. I mean,
okay.
there are just the usual certificates that are
Right.
given to, that are required of all,
Right.
export products. But there are no special restrictions on our ube. And so that's also why the DA is very much into this, this effort, because one of their objectives is to diversify the range of products that we're exporting to Europe. Right now, it remains the same crops: coconut, bananas, a few other tropical fruits, but that's it. We're not, some fish.
Yeah.
But if we're able to promote and export, a new Filipino product in ube,
Yeah.
that would be helping us increase the range of products from the Philippines to Europe.
That's so interesting. And just going back on the economic side, and, I understand. I think also you heard this from our DA officials that because of ube's growing popularity in the U.S., that really there's been so much demand that Filipino farmers have been unable to keep up. But what have you found out about what's the better way other than the backyard farming? What would be the better way to cultivate this? I mean, what areas? I mean, okay, Bohol, but what areas are conducive to maybe an ube plantation? What would be um, maybe is there? Does it require a lot of water, or maybe is there a government program that you've heard of that maybe is maybe encouraging some Filipinos to plant this? Maybe you can share some of those, because I know you've been talking to lots of
Yeah.
people.
Actually, one very interesting strategy that the DA is exploring is engaging the indigenous peoples
Okay.
to plant ube.
Okay.
In fact, because of the law, the IP lands,
Right.
cannot be tapped by commercial,
Right.
commercial farmers. And so the DA has started to explore the possibility of using IP lands for ube, but that would mean um, mobilizing, capacitating the indigenous peoples,
Right.
who, by the way, might be more learned, more
They probably know more than
about ube. Exactly.
most Filipinos.
It's just the challenge is to bring it into
Sure. To a commercial scale.
commercial scale and
Yeah.
export quality. So we're trying to look at that angle. Because that would surely increase the productivity of the
Sure.
lands that are normally not,
Sure.
productive
Right.
for commercial.
They probably
export.
plant it, but maybe for their own
Yes,
consumption,
yes.
but it's not brought to
Yeah,
market.
and the interesting thing about that, because if the government will be successful in mobilizing, engaging the IPs to do ube farming, that would really complete the sustainability story of ube, and that
Right.
will contribute to the success of ube as an export product to Europe, because it's not only is it healthful,
Yeah.
product. It's striking color. It can be used for for many gastronomic applications. But the sustainability story is also going to be present, because it's a root crop that will transform small farming
Communities,
communities.
yeah.
Yes. So Yeah.
But going back to the color, I just had a couple of questions. The Germans or the people you've talked to, they're how some foreigners are attracted to or maybe turned off by certain food coloring. So the purple color of ube is not something that's odd to the Germans. They don't.
Yeah, well, the I guess the strategy there would be to connect it to other food that
Okay.
are
I see.
familiar to
I
them.
see.
For instance, the ube color, the particular purple color, is actually comes from anthocyanins in ube
Okay.
in the root, which is also the same with the same what's that compound that gives blueberries their purple color.
I see.
So it's the same anthocyanins. I just don't know about the chemical composition
Okay.
of those anthocyanins, but the way we see to introduce a novel product is to connect it to things that are familiar
That's
to
smart.
the
Yeah.
Germans. So, for instance, if you look at ube, it's not particularly pretty
Yeah.
as a the fresh root crop.
Yeah.
But when we describe it as a root crop, a Philippine root crop that looks like a truffle but tastes like pistachios,
Okay.
then they already have these hooks that will
I
make
see.
them more comfortable with
Yeah.
something novel from the Philippines.
But you were saying also that your research, you found out through your research that there are actually different color varieties of ube. You were saying something that there was even a white variety.
Yeah.
Could you share what you
Yeah,
learned there?
yeah. It's there was a very interesting encounter I had with an official from the DTI, and because DTI was one of the agencies we had to approach
Sure.
for this ube project, and one of them, just very informally mentioned, it's not going to be easy to promote ube because our ube is actually turning white because of climate change. So
Oh.
that's what he said, and so
Okay.
I checked also on this remark, among those who know ube best. And I found out that actually there are different varieties of ube, and there is actually a white variety of ube. So,
Have you had a chance to sample it, or
yes, in fact, yeah,
does it taste
it tastes like ube.
but
Yeah,
without the color?
yes, but without the color.
I see.
So maybe that person that made that remark was just not so informed about the different varieties
Well, I
of
mean,
ube.
this is very educational for us also.
So I think there's a lot to learn about ube even among Filipinos, and it's proving to be a it's a very interesting journey just learning about ube. And especially if you're an ube lover like
Right.
me, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
most Filipinos
more-
are, yeah.
the more
Well, like you said,
know.
we associate it with fiestas or halo-halo, di ba? And special
Yeah,
occasions,
yeah.
but it's,
Yeah.
I seen in the US, for example, they put it in bread. You're talking about ice cream, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of different applications.
Right. In fact, in the ube fiestas that we've launched in Germany, we've done the first one was in Bonn, where you have one of the most populous, where you have a large community of the largest community of Filipinos in Germany. When we had our first ube fiesta in Bonn, we had to talk to the Filipino organizers of the fiesta, and we said, this is going to be a different fiesta because we're not going to be marketing ube to Filipinos. We all know what ube is. We as a community, as a Filipino diaspora here, are going to try to make the Germans discover something that that they've been missing all their lives. So the Filipinos who participate were just so eager, so enthusiastic about using ube in the typical German preparations, in the German Pfannkuchen,
I don't know
the
if I
German
mentioned to you, I
lattes.
discovered there's a very active German community in Bohol. I don't know if you had a chance to link up with them, but
Yeah, I actually.
regarding what you were saying, this might be a good
Yeah, that's
opportunity.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Actually, I'm scheduled to meet with the governor of Bohol,
Okay.
who will be in Germany, in Berlin, for a tourism
Okay.
event.
Not with the president's delegation.
Not with the president's
I see.
delegation, but he's going there for a big tourism event in Berlin, and we will take the opportunity to get into deeper discussions with him about how we can utilize what is happening in Bohol, because they have a lot. They have the Ube Festival every third week of January. They have their hotels. Some are partly owned by Germans who
Yes,
offer
yeah.
Ube gastronomy.
That's so interesting.
So there are ube farms around. So if we can link up all these, these elements together, I think that's a really good opportunity.
Now, all these years, people have been going to Cebu for the Sinulog and not realizing there's a much more interesting festival in Bohol. But probably for adults.
Yes. Especially for the ube lovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But quite interesting. Do you think that maybe ube can be maybe a signature crop that the Philippine, that can be associated with the Philippines? Is it that big, or is it, maybe part of a larger, maybe basket of goods that can link to the Philippines? So what I'm just thinking, what is the big picture? What is the potential here in your estimation?
Well, of course, ube in terms of volume and I guess applications, may not compare directly to coconuts. I mean,
Sure.
because we are still, among the top, coconut producers in the world. We will always be known for
Yeah.
that. But we would like to,
Diversify,
tell the world
yeah.
that the Filipinos is more
It's
than
more than coconuts.
more
yeah.
than coconuts, and more
Or
than
bananas.
what they or bananas,
Yeah.
or just more than what they think they know about the Philippines.
Right.
So with ube, and actually with other rising stars, the as the
Yeah.
DA calls it, the rising agriculture stars like calamansi, turmeric,
Right.
pili nut, cacao,
Right.
ginger.
Right.
These are the other things that we would like to present to the world as something that the Philippines has a lot, has a lot and good quality, and has products of such good quality. And because also of these distinct and unique, the unique properties of these, our calamansi, our
Sure.
ube, we hope that this will help the world see the Philippines in a different light. So might be a stretch, I mean, to think of it as that way, but at least in my humble world, I think there is potential for ube diplomacy.
Sure. And maybe we can wrap up there, because you're part of your work, as I mentioned in the beginning, is cultural diplomacy, but promoting Philippine foods is certainly something that elevates the image of the country. And I think you were in previous conversations talking about maybe this can be part of a greater foreign policy framework, maybe where we try to exert our soft power, so to speak, right? Through maybe um, introducing the world to wonderful delicacies or foodstuffs from our country. And maybe talk about how it ties into your work as a diplomat, and promoting these things.
Yeah, some I mean, frankly, some even raise an eyebrow as to how this ube diplomacy can actually be taken seriously.
Yeah.
But I think that I guess I'm inspired also by a lot of the great things that are in the world that started with with humble beginnings, and a lot of resistance, suspicion, and
Yeah.
but I think that ube is that non-political, exciting, novel thing that the Filipinos can be known for. And I think it deserves a chance to be seen by the world as a unique offering by the Philippines by way of our cultural connection to it. So it will lead us to our fiestas, the way the Filipinos connect to each other. I mean, Filipinos are known for that. Our interpersonal skills and our ability to be, to be happy and resilient, despite all this, in the face of challenges. I think we can make that connection, and maybe Ube can be that channel. And from what I see, just the sheer excitement that Ube elicits from Filipinos, the sheer willingness by Filipinos to let go of, even political positions, and, come together as a community who loves this root crop, is just astounding. So I think it's worth a shot.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck in trying to promote it. You're probably now the champion of
Yeah,
ube.
what we say is that now the pambansang kulay, unofficial pambansang kulay of the Philippines is ube.
Oh, there you go.
And it's the blue and the red of our Philippine flag combined. And I think it's a neat way to, to present ube as a Filipino, distinctly Filipino, brand.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that's a good way to maybe promote unity, is to blend
Yeah.
colors, as you say.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
all right. Well,
True.
Conjen, thank you very much for your time. I really
Thank
appreciate it. I know
you.
you're only in the country for a few days, and
Yes.
we appreciate you spending this time with us. And please keep us posted on your campaign, and we'd be very much interested if there are developments in the future. Maybe when that book comes out, or maybe when
Yeah.
maybe there's a new milestone. Let us know. We'd be very interested in covering how this develops.
Thank you, Chair Klink, and thank you to the Manila Times for this opportunity to talk about ube. And I hope that this little story will touch more Filipinos, because we certainly need more champions. This is not just our little project. If it blossoms into something that becomes a national project, I think we will all benefit from it.
Thank you, Conjen.
Thank you.
All right, this is Dante Klink, and this is the Manila Times Roundtable, and I will see you next time.